Excellent. So we will be looking at data cleaning and preparation today. And I will give you all my introduction. I think some of you already know me. You might have come for my earlier sessions, but introductions can happen later. Let me start right away by starting with one of the topics in Excel, right? Now, this is not a hands-on session in the sense that you're not working with me, but everything that I do will be done live. So there are no slides and very little theory that I'll be taking you through. So the first thing I want to show you is how to create your own functions. I will also write down all these things. So this is our open session on data cleaning. And I want to show you how to create your own functions on Excel. Now, the first question is, why do we even want to create our own functions and how do you do it, right? Let's have a look. Okay, now I want to start with a very, very simple example. Let me just make sure everything is deleted first. That's better. Now imagine that you want to find the square root of a number, right? So if I've written 144 and you want to find the square root of the number, we know there is a function called sqrt that allows you to find the square root of the number. Very simple. This is how the formula looks. But imagine that you want to do the opposite. You want to find the square of a number. And how do you do that? Because there is no function available for it. The only option you have is either to multiply by itself, right? Or you can raise it to the power of 2 and you get the result, correct? Sure, that would be one way of doing it. But then this means I have to teach everybody in my team how to use the formula. And that's tricky because somebody might make a mistake here or there. So what I want to do is I want to create my own function. And for this, we will use something called a lambda. Now, whether you have lambda available with you or not, you will have to check. But lambda is only available for Microsoft 365. So if you're working on Excel 2013, 2016, 2019, 2021, this might not be there for you. Lambda is also available online if you're working on Microsoft 365. How does it work? As you can see, lambda allows you to create a function which can be called within formulas. Sounds very complex. Let's see it in action. So I'm going to write lambda, and then I want to give it a parameter, right? So let me call it as an input. Now it asks me, do you want to enter one more parameter or do you want to run a calculation? Now our current requirement is only a single parameter which we want to multiply by itself. So I will simply say input multiplied by input. So do you see what we are doing? We are teaching it a generalized way of finding the square of a number. But if you press enter, it gives you a calculation error because lambda cannot be used directly like this. If you want to test it out, then I can always write in parentheses B11, and you notice it gives you the result like this. This is only for a testing purpose. But how do you make it a part of your Excel file? I will just copy everything, Control C. We will go to formulas. And then in formulas, I go to name manager. Here I will create a new name. I will call it square. And here I will just paste it here. Very cool. I can also add a comment that finds the square of the given number. I click on OK, close it. Now, how cool is that? Watch this. I can actually write 12. I can write SQ. Do you see this? There is a function that has been created within Excel. And then I can just select the input and it gives me the result. First, Ask me if you have any questions around it. Then I'll tell you what all is possible by using lambdas.
So formulas can be created in Microsoft 365 version only and not lower than that?
Yeah, I believe so. I will still double check once. So lambda Excel version. Okay, so it says that lambda. Yep. It won't be there in 2019 or earlier. So 2013, 16, 19, it won't be there. 2021, it might be there, but I'm not 100% sure. We'll have to check that. Yeah. Now, the introduction of lambdas was such a big deal that even Satya Nadella tweeted about it when it was introduced last year in 2021. And Satya said that Excel formulas, the world's most popular programming language, is now Turing complete. I will not get into details now. You can do a Google search later. But whenever a language is Turing complete, it essentially means you can create your own algorithms on it, right? For example, even in Python, we have something called a lambda. Again, I'm not going to spend time on it. All you need to know is that you're creating what we call an anonymous function, right? So we are creating a function ourselves. And the best part is I don't have to write any code behind it, right? Okay. Now I want to show you, this was, of course, a very silly, small example. But look at all the possibilities that you have, right? Let me show you one. Imagine there is a name, and there is another name here, and a third name, and we have a fourth name. I want to separate the first name and the last name. Not too difficult. I know I will have to use left, right, mid, find, length, things like that. But the problem is that I have to teach every single person in my organization how to write that. That means there is also a possibility of an error happening. How do you standardize it, right? How do you make it generic? Please watch. So the first thing I will do is I will write my formula normally. Okay, nothing special. I want my first name. So I will say equal to left of B17. How many characters do we want? HAVISH, 6 characters. So I will find my space. My space is at the 7th character, obviously. Now, if my space is the 7th character and I do -1, that means 6 characters, it will give me Havish, like this. And this works for all the names, irrespective of the length of that first name. As you can see, this works perfectly, right? Okay, what about the last name? For the last name, I will say equal to. Now we'll go from the right. So I will go backwards. I will go YTAPAV like that. So what do we want to do? In my cell, how many characters do I want? I want to find the length of B70 minus, I want to find a space within B70. Now, how does that work? If my entire name, everyone, which is HAVISH and a space, that would be 7 characters, then I have MADH, VAPA, TY. That would be 4 and 4 and 2, right? So that's another 10 characters. So when I know it is 17 characters and I do total 17 minus 7, I will get 10, and that will give me the last name equal to formula text. But here's the problem, right? This isn't really difficult, but then it's still not that easy. A fresher or a new intern that has come in might not be able to pick it up. And for an organization, you want to standardize things, right? Across the dozens and hundreds of people that you have. And if somebody copies and pastes it, there is always a risk that it might not work properly. They might make a silly, inadvertent mistake. So what do we do here? What I would like to do is to take the same formula, but we want to standardize it into a lambda. Okay, please watch. So very smartly, I'm just going to copy my formula, Control C. Okay, and this part also I will copy, and I will say Control C. Let me just write down the lambda here. So I will say equal to. Okay, watch carefully. Lambda, right? Now within the lambda, there is a input, which is my name. There is another input where it asks me what part do I want? That means, do I want the first name or the last name? So there are two parameters, two inputs I'm taking from the user, right? Now that I have two inputs, I want to write my formula. So I'll just say that if, okay, if part is equal to 1, then what is my result? That means I want the first name. So I'll just paste my formula for the first name, comma. Otherwise, I want to paste my formula for the last name like this. Remember, if you press enter, it will not work. But if I give it a sample, so if I say B17, right, comma 1, it gives me Havish. If I say B17, comma 2, it gives me the last name. How cool is that? Now, what I'm going to do is I will just copy the entire thing, Control C, right? But remember, we don't want B17. I just want to take the input here. So I'll take the input. This also is my input. And then everything you notice, I'm removing the B17 and I'm replacing that with my input, right? Let me copy the entire formula, Control C, go to my name manager. We will give another name. We will call this extract underscore name. I will paste it here and we will see that 1 for first name and 2 for the last name. Click on OK. Now watch. So tomorrow, if you want to do this again, I don't have to write the entire formula. I will just say equal to extract underscore name. Do you see this? How nice is that? If you say B23, comma 1, it will give you the, okay, it's not really working. Let me just check that. Hold on. Okay, I called it the name, but here it is the input. So let me just change that into the input. My bad. And please look at my formulas, everyone. This is for my first name. And if I say formula text, right, and comma 2, it gives me my last name. That is not working, but let me check that. Hold on. Okay, I'm not really sure why an error is coming, but nevertheless, let me try it one more time. Yeah, it's working now. Perfect. Any questions on this, anyone?
Out of curiosity, I would like to ask a
Yes.
question that in names, in between names, first name and last name, there might be several delimiters many times. So instead of space, we can't go and edit the delimiter every time, right? Is there anything, something like parameter where we could choose parameter and we could, separate the names?
Why not? Why not? See, do you see this? This is my formula, isn't it? Now
Yes,
I'm
yes.
giving input part and right in front of you, I'm just making my, I'll call it my delimiter. Okay. Now I'm choosing the delimiter. That means that what do I want to find? I don't want to find a space every time because it might be a different delimiter. So what I'm doing here is I am able to specify my delimiter here and I'm able to specify my delimiter here, right? Let me just copy it, come back to name manager and edit it. Come back here and paste it. Okay. And close. Now see what happens. Now I can also choose my delimiter, which in this case is a space, and in this case is a space. Now, what would happen if my delimiter was something different? For example, I had, let's say, Anmol underscore Sharma. What do you have to do? Equal to extract name, Which part do you want? You want the first part, and the delimiter is the underscore. Does that answer your question?
Yes, yes. Thank
And
you.
you see, everyone, how simple and elegant it is. The way we are able to build a very simple formula. And the moment you say, okay, can I apply another layer of logic on it? Because my business requirement might be a little different. Did you see how easy it was to do that? I will send these files back to you as well after the workshop is over, in case you want to go back and have a look at it. Do keep in mind, you will not be able to do it on a version of Excel older than 2019, but you can go to office.com and you can create a free account. Even with a free account of Office, you will have Lambda with you, right? So just keep that in mind. Now, these are small examples I'm showing you, but I also want to show you the potential of using Lambda. So I have these ready-made solutions that I've already created. Let me open it. So I have something called super examples. See, I've been working on Lambda for about a year and a half, and I like to, spend time on it and figure out different things. So see what I've done here. This is for the first name, the middle name, and the last name. Substantially more complicated because the formula changes quite a bit if you want the middle name as well. One more thing Excel has done recently is that they have introduced something called the advanced formula environment. Now, if any of you come from a programming background, this is not like Visual Studio. It's not a development environment, but it is one step further towards that. It allows you to write better formulas. Let me show you how. Imagine in our file, I will go to my advanced formula environment. By the way, how do you install it? You just have to go to Insert. You have to select Get Add-ins. Get Add-ins is like a store you have on Android and iOS. Similarly, there's a store for Excel applications. So here I have a search for my advanced. Do you see this? It's called the advanced formula environment. And in this advanced formula environment, you can see that. How cool is that? I can actually see, almost like a programming language, I can see the two functions that I've created, right? From here, I can also edit it, I can comment it, right? Or I can share it with others. So you might be wondering, Havish, what does it mean by sharing it, right? Do you see there is an option for importing it? How do I do that? So there is a GitHub gist. Now, for those of you who have not worked with GitHub, earlier you need not have known what GitHub is because it's meant for programmers. But now what has happened is that Excel is almost like a programming language, right? That is why you have to learn what GitHub is. So GitHub, everyone, is a platform for developers and coders where we can share our portfolios, we can share code, and we can collaboratively work on a project, right? So within GitHub, let me just sign in quickly. Okay, not sure why it's asking me to do a two-factor authentication. Let me just find my phone. Okay, give me a moment. I'll just get my phone. All right, so let me quickly sign in. One moment. Okay, so within this, you notice that I have my gists, and within the gists, I've created a lot of different Lambda gists here. For example, this is for combined unique. This is for end of quarter. This is for start of quarter. Let me give you an example. Let me say I want something for let me find something that all of you will be able to connect to. So let us look at. Okay, this is very cool. This is called extract number. Okay, so I'll just click on this. It's a very long formula, but that's okay. We don't want to worry about it. I just want to copy my gist, which is I'll just copy the URL, Control C. We will come back. I will click on this import button. We'll put in the URL here and I will import it. Now, once it gets imported, I will also sync the names with the Excel name manager. Once I've done that, now you notice that in my formulas and name manager, we have something called extract number. Now, what does it do? This is a very cool thing. Imagine you have a text with some numbers in it. Now, the numbers could be in any position, as you notice. Sometimes it is in the beginning, sometimes it is at the end. There is no pattern here, right? You have some characters as well, right? Like this. It's completely garbage data. If I ask you to extract the numbers from it, you can't do it. There is no Excel formula that can do this for you. But look at this. I can just say equal to extract underscore number. And how cool is that? It is able to extract the numbers. Please remember, lambda doesn't mean you don't have to write your formulas. You will still have to write your formulas. It's just that the formulas can be packaged in such a way that it becomes generalized and you can use it anywhere. Otherwise, when you write a complex Excel formula, you still have to struggle to apply it in a different workbook, right? That is the problem that will not happen with lambdas. Right? I'm just sharing this link with you as well for my gist, so you can all go back and have a look at this. Right? Any questions?
Yeah, hi Harish. So this formulas is similar to the calculated field or parameters that we use in Tableau?
No, absolutely not. When you work on calculated field and parameters in Tableau, that is similar to working on Power BI with DAX, right? So in Excel,
yes.
when I go to Power Pivot, right, and I insert a measure here, this would be equivalent to creating a calculated field or a parameter or a level of detail expression on Tableau. These are just Excel formulas, right?
Okay.
See, parameters are the same. For example, if you write a parameter in Tableau or a parameter in Excel, obviously they are the same. See, if I say equal to 54 multiplied by the cell D45, right? And if I insert a value in D45, my number is changing. Isn't this a parameter? This is also a parameter. Any user input becomes a parameter. How Lambda is different is that it allows you to use parameters to be able to create your own functions. And those functions, if you notice, are appearing in your list of Excel functions like this. Right?
Okay.
Which earlier would only have been possible with JavaScript or with Visual Basic. Now you can do it without learning any programming.
Yes. Okay.
Perfect. So let me save this and let's move on to something different now. Okay. The second thing I want to show you is how to use let. Let me open a very nice example in which I can cover that. So hold on. All right, look at this, everyone. Let me remove all the formulas and all. So here is my problem statement, but I'll do it in the first one. Hold on. So there are customers that we have. And for each customer, there is an individual target that has been given, and they have to meet that. For example, Aaron has a target of 124, has to meet 190. Then there are two separate product goals that have been given. So there is one product goal for product A, and then one for product B. And then finally, you have the date of joining. Now, as an organization, I would like to give an incentive to my customers. For example, we have a loyalty program, let us say at a Shoppers store. Now, how do they determine who should get that extra promotional offer? So there are three conditions that have to be met. Either of the product goals has to be met. So either the product goal for A or the product goal for B. Or the achievement has to be more than 100%. And the person should have been with the company for at least 2 years. So we only want to give an incentive to a loyal customer, somebody who has shown the longevity along with the company. Usually, how would you write a formula like this? I would say if, because there are three conditions, we will say and. What is the first condition? That my achievement has to be more than my target. What is the second condition? That there is a choice. Either my product A is equal to yes, or my product B is equal to yes. And the third condition is that year frac. That means the difference between the date of joining and today measured in years. That means the difference between the date of joining and today, right, measured in years has to be greater than, right, or equal to 2. If all the three conditions are met, what happens? The person gets the incentive, which is 10% of their achievement. Otherwise, the person gets basically no incentive. Now, the thing is that some people will not get an incentive, and let us see why. Justin is not getting an incentive, obviously, because Justin is a very new customer, hasn't completed 2 years with the company. What about Rick? You notice target wasn't met. Jim, target wasn't met. Toby is our oldest customer, but the target was just met. And what is our condition? We are asking that Toby should have done not just 162, but more than that, right? Achievement has to be more than 100%. But there is also another thing. We are saying that the incentive is capped to 20. That means nobody can get more than 20. So I will just apply a minimum and say that nobody can get more than 20. For example, when you order something on Swiggy and you get an offer from your credit card, and they say that you will get 25% off up to 150 rupees. So it means that you can't place an order for 5,000 rupees and expect to get 1,000 rupees. The point is that you can get a certain percentage off, but there is a capping or a ceiling to it. That is what we are doing here as well. So you notice nobody gets more than 20. So this is how you would have written a formula normally, right? And there's nothing wrong with it. But we can make it a little better. And how do I do that? I can declare variables. Please watch. So the same formula, I'm going to declare variables here. So the first thing I'll do is I will say that let, which is declaring my variables. So my target is what it is, C8. What is my achievement? My achievement is D8. What is my product A? It is E8. What is my product B? It is F8. Then what is my date of joining? It is G8. How does that help us? Now we don't have to write D8 greater than C. I can make it more descriptive by writing my achievement is greater than my target. Here, if you notice, I will say that my product A is equal to Y, or my product B is equal to Y. And then we say that the difference between date of joining and today has to be at least 2 years, right? And the minimum is again 10% of my achievement. So you notice we get the same result. You know, so the advantage of writing a formula in the way I have written, the second one, is that the formula becomes so much more meaningful. It becomes so much more descriptive, doesn't it? I agree the formula looks a little longer because you have to declare the variables. But look at the advantage. The formula on the left, if you just look at the formula, doesn't mean anything. It means nothing. What is D8? What is C8? What is F8? How do you even know that you have selected everything properly? But on the other hand, if you look at the formula on the right, this is almost like a story. You know exactly what you have done. So first you have declared your 5 variables: target, achievement, product A, product B, date of joining. And then look at the formula. The formula actually has a story. It tells you what you are doing. It tells you achievement greater than target. This one just says D8 greater than C8. You don't know what is in D8 and what is in C8. Right? So any questions on this? Anyone?
How do we write a formula if we want to condition that if either of the two goals are met, then the incentive will be given? Either of the two. Like here we are just conditioning that both the targets have to be met. But I'm saying only one of the target is met, then the person is eligible for incentive.
When you say one of the targets, you mean that either product A or product B. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
But that's what we have done, no? When we have said or, if you look at this part, when I've said or, it means that either product A is equal to yes or F8 is equal to yes. If both are yes, that will also work, but at least one of them has to be yes.
Yes. Thank you.
That's exactly what we do. Now see, let combined with lambda is very powerful, because when you're writing lambda, some of your formulas can be very, very long. And that is where it is very, very handy to be able to declare your variables here, because it just makes things so much easier for you and the end user as well, right? While we're on the topic of formulas, I also want to give you some additional tips how to write better formulas, right? Number one, whenever you're writing a formula, please break it into multiple lines. Ask yourself, how many of you do this? Compare this formula with this, okay? Which I know is how everybody writes formulas. And you tell me, is this better or is this better? It's a world of a difference, right? The formula is the same. Obviously, I can't make it simpler, but at least I can make it shorter. I can make it more readable. Especially when you have a long formula and there is an error in it. You will go crazy to figure out why that error is happening if you look at something like this. It is so much easier to look at the formula like this. That is tip number one. How do you break it into a different line? You press Alt Enter, right? Tip number two. When you're writing a formula, always have a screenshot with you. The shortcut to take a screenshot is Windows Shift S. The Windows button, the Shift key, and the S button. Windows Shift S allows you to take a screenshot like this wherever you want. Do you see what I've done here? I've taken the screenshot. So much easier for yourself when you're writing the formula, and for others when you're presenting your work to others. Tip number three. When you're writing a formula, you can also use evaluate formula. That means I can go to formulas and I can select evaluate formula, and evaluate formula will take me through the formula step by step. So what does it do? It tells me D10, which is 170, is it greater than C10, which is 130? The answer is true. And then like this, you can go step by step. And this is very helpful when you have a very long formula and there is an error happening. And you would just like to understand where is that error happening. Or it's a very long formula. Somebody else has given you the file, but you are not sure how that formula is working. So this is a great way for you to try and see how that formula is working step by step. Now, this is an inbuilt tool. This is called evaluate formula. But there is an external tool called get formula. Let me show that to you as well. How will you get this free add-in? You will have to go to insert add-ins like I showed you before, and you will have to search for the formula forge like this, right? I will add it, and then I will get the formula forge. How does that work? It's very cool. Please watch. So I will just select a cell with the formula in it, and I will select formula forge, which is get formula. And it will show me the entire formula as a tree, as a diagram. Check this out. How helpful is that? Can you imagine? When you're stuck with a long formula, I'm sure all of you will agree that having this is going to make your life so much simpler, because now you can exactly see how are the steps happening step by step. For example, D8 is 192, C8 is 124. Is 192 greater than 124? True. E8 is Y, F8 is also Y. One is true, one is false. That means, is the answer true? Yes. Here fact, G8 is one date, today is one other date. Is 3.14 greater than 2? True. Since all the three are true, the answer is also true. So the person will be getting 20 or 19.2, whichever is minimum. So how much do they end up getting? They end up getting 19. This will make everybody's life so much simpler by having this diagram view with you. And this is a free tool. You don't even have to pay anything for it, right? This is one of those things that people just don't use, but you should use the formula forge. Any questions on this? Anyone?
Hi, Havesh, Ratika this side. Thank you besides Windows Shift Test, get formula purge and evaluate formula, there's another thing which you mentioned about alt to break the line that I missed.
Sure. So for example, this is my formula. So I can just come after a comma and I can press alt enter. That will break my formula into multiple lines.
Oh, got it. Thank you.
In fact, let me also write it down here. So we have alt plus enter. We have Windows plus shift plus S, and then we have the formula forge added, right? Perfect. Okay. So we have covered lambda, we have covered let. I've also showed you the advanced formula environment and the formula forge, right? Next thing I want to show you is dynamic arrays, okay? So dynamic arrays were introduced in Excel around 2019. And let me just show you how it works, okay? Let me first delete all the solutions. Just a moment, everyone. Okay. So I have my sales value and my quantity, and I need to multiply one by the other. Usually, what would you do? You would say, why is it difficult? You will simply say equal to B8 multiplied by C8, correct? And then you will drag it down, or you will press Control D, Control C, Control V, whatever it is. But then why are you doing it? Why are you writing one single formula and then copying it? The correct way of doing this now would be to simply say B8, B15 multiplied by C8, C15. This, everyone, is what we call dynamic arrays. An array simply means it's a list of values. So how many values do we have right now? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That means there are 8 values in sales and 8 values in quantity. So we want to multiply first with first, second with second, third with third, fourth with fourth, like that. So you notice you will get the results in one go. How cool is that? And it's only one single formula. Any questions on this, anyone?
Yeah, is it the same as sum product?
Yeah, very good observation. So the sum product used to be something before dynamic arrays were introduced, but it used to be an array formula where I will select array and array. But the thing is, sum product will only do one thing, which is what? Let me just do it one more time. Sum product will only find the product, right? And then find the sum of it, correct? But when I'm doing this, if I do a sum, would you not say that this is same as the sum product? Yes or no? This is the same as a sum product, isn't it? But the advantage is that I'm not limited to a sum of product. I can also make it the average of the product, right? I can also make it the average of the division. So it is in my control. The problem with sum product is that both the sum and the product are fixed operations. I can't do any other arithmetic operation other than sum and product. But yes, sum product used to be this very unique formula in Excel, which allowed you to select multiple inputs. No other formula would work like that. But now we have, like I'm showing you, now we have this ability of applying dynamic arrays on any formula that you want. So I can also make it the sum of this multiplied by this. So this becomes my sum product. Right? Okay. Now you might say, but how is this even working? Like, how is it able to understand that it's the first sales with the first quantity, the second sales with the second quantity? So what will happen when I only have a single value? Now, usually what do? We will say B20 multiplied by 10% and with a dollar sign. Okay, I'm not sure why my dollar signs are not working. Okay, I'm sure everybody agrees that this is how you write a formula. B20 multiplied by F20, and then you copy it down. This is ridiculous. Why do you want to do it? Watch this. I can simply say equal to B20, B27 multiplied by F20. I don't need to write one formula and copy it. Also, I don't need to put a dollar sign. Because I'm multiplying these 8 values with a single GST, Excel is smart enough to multiply every single sales value with that 10%, and the result is like this. So an array is being multiplied with a single value. In the previous example, an array was being multiplied with another array, right? But dynamic arrays handles everything for you. So you don't have to worry about how to write it and when will it work, when will it not work. It figures it out for you automatically, right? Now, if you want to find the sum of all of these values, I hope you see there is a blue border that is appearing here, everyone. So now if I want to find the sum, I will simply say the sum of not C20, C27. I can just say C20 hash, and it selects all the different values for me. So the entire range has been selected dynamically. Right? One more example. Usually when you want to multiply rows with columns, we would do this. We would say that the dollar only comes on B32 multiplied by the dollar only comes on 31, which is on the row. This is so confusing, right? Like you can make a mistake so easily. And then you will have to drag it down first. That also takes you time. Then you'll have to drag it to the right. I can get the same result. Let me do it below this. I can get the same result by just multiplying. Look how cool this is. I can say equal to P43, P50 multiplied by C42, E42. So there are 8 sales value and 3 percentages. So we essentially get 8 into 3, 24 values in a single formula. And the speed of your formulas will become so much faster because in the previous case, you were writing 24 formulas. That means Excel literally has to compute 24 different formulas. Here, on the other hand, you're only writing a single formula. So from an efficiency, from an optimization point of view, this is so much better than writing regular Excel formulas.
Havish, this even overdoes the requirement for what if scenario. What if scenario goal seek and
not really, because in a goal seek you will still have to put in
conditions.
Yeah, absolutely. When you have multiple conditions and you want to create a simulation, then this is great. As you can see, I have showed you how to multiply an array with an array, how to multiply an array with a constant, and how to multiply an array with an array, which is one is in a row and the other is in a column.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Showed you had that's on row 20, D20.
Just a moment. This one?
This one, sorry, the C20 formula. Yeah. So there's another way of doing that actually. You could actually say F20 into B20 hash. That would again do that for you.
Not at all. You know why? Because my values, which are C20, C27, do you see there is a blue border surrounding these cells? These are connected to each other. Why are they connected? Because I wrote a formula. These cells are not connected to each other. So if I write B20 hash, it doesn't do anything, right? B20,
no,
B21.
I'm saying the other way around. F20 into B20 hash.
That won't work, right? The thing is that if you do F20 multiplied by B20 hash, it doesn't understand that B20 is connected to all the cells below it. All these are discrete cells. So you will not be able to select B20 till B27.
Enter.
It won't work. It will just give you an error. Right? So the hash only works. So the hash only works on a dynamic array, which is basically wherever you see a blue border appearing. For example, there is a blue border around all these cells. Similarly, if I come here and I want to find the sum of C43 hash, you notice it selects the entire range because all the cells are connected via one single formula. If I delete that one formula, then everything is deleted.
Got it. Thanks for that.
All right. Good. So we have seen let, lambda, also dynamic arrays, and how to write better formulas. Let me now show you a little bit of Visual Basic and TypeScript. Right? See, no matter how good you are with Excel, at the end of the day, you want to do automation, right? Why? Because no matter how nicely you write a formula, you don't want to do it every single time you get a new file or every single time you get an updated file. For example, this is one of my client projects. So the problem statement that the client had here was that they had to create a dashboard at the end of each month. Now, the problem is that they were getting the MIS data for the employees. Okay, this is not the correct file. Let me open the other one. One moment. Okay, here we go. All right. Now, the problem was that the client had to create this month-end business cut where we had the headcount data, the grade-wise data, the tenure-wise, age group. And you notice all of these are not very difficult, but fairly intermediate level formulas, right? Now, you might say, but why is it difficult? Like tomorrow when my MIS data gets updated, let's say right now I'm sitting in the month of July, the moment August ends, why can't I just update my data? You know as well as I do, it's not that simple. You can't just update the raw data because something or the other changes and the formulas always will throw up some issue or the other, right? So what we have done here is, if you notice, I've done a VBA automation. So let me just delete it. You notice that I just click on a single button and look what it does. It literally creates my entire file for me in 1 second, right? This is the power of automation. No matter how good you are with Excel and how fast you are in your ability to copy paste the formulas and make the requisite changes, you can't be as fast as this, right? As far as VBA can be. So this is Visual Basic. I also want to show you how automation works on Excel Online, right? So allow me to give you an example. I'm just opening a blank Excel file and we'll take a very simple example. So we have name and we have sales, and then I have some garbage data. So I have a date here, right? And then I have Havish and I have, but there are some extra spaces that are coming here. You see this? Like this. And then I also have the value 20 and 30. Imagine I have the same data on Excel Online as well. So I just hop over online to office.com and we'll create a new Excel file. And exactly what we had there, I'll create it here as well. And let me also zoom in so you can see it a little better. Perfect. How do you record a macro on Excel? First, let me make a copy of this. How do you record a macro on Excel? First, I need the developer tab, right? For those of you who have never worked on the developer tab, to enable the developer tab, you have to go to File, then you go to Options, then you go to Customize ribbon, and then you enable the developer tab. The developer tab is available on every version of Excel. It's been there in Excel for more than 30 years now. It was introduced in 1991, but it is disabled by default because it is only meant for developers. So I'll enable it, and then I will select record macro, okay? So that you know how is the macro getting recorded, I will also open my Visual Basic window, and I will just show you two windows at the same time, like this, so that you understand the coding better, right? So please watch. Now I go to developer and I will record my macro and I'll just call it test. Doesn't matter what we call it, and okay. So you will notice that this is how my macro is getting recorded, everyone. Okay. Okay. Now watch carefully. I have to clean the data, isn't it? So the first thing I do is I will select my top two rows. So what does it say? Row 1, 2 dot select. And I will press Ctrl- to delete it. So it says selection.delete, Shift Excel up. This is all Visual Basic. Then I will select column A, which is column A is select, right click and delete. Now I want to double click on the column so that I do an auto fit, which we all know. But I also want to trim the data, isn't it? How do I trim the data? To trim this, I will first have to do it somewhere else. So I'll have to say equal to trim, and we will apply trim on both these cells. I'll copy it, come back, do a paste special value, and then we will delete the formulas. Now I also want to find the sum of my sales, make it bold, and maybe I also want to change the color into a green color. And this is a bold heading, right? And then we will go to developer and stop the record. So what we have done is we have performed a task which had multiple steps in it. But because it is repetitive and I'm expected to do it multiple times a day or maybe at the end of every week, I'm automating it by recording all these steps in Visual Basic, right? And you can see what we have done. We have selected the row, we have deleted it, selected the column, deleted it. We have done an auto fit. We have selected D2, press escape. We have written the formula D2, D3, Control C, A2. We have done a paste special value, D2. We have done a Control Shift down. We have done escape, clear content, which is delete, B4 select, escape. So you get the idea, right? What we are doing. How will it work if I tomorrow have a new data set? So let's say we have some different names that have come here, right? And I have a Talha Farkar, and maybe the numbers have also changed and the date is different. So maybe it's the 17th of August. I don't have to do anything. I just have to select my code and I have to run it. In 1 second, the entire data cleaning happens. That, everyone, is the power of automation. That is why the entire world is going gaga over robotic process automation. RPA, of course, is a much bigger area because RPA is not restricted to automation only for Excel. It is automation for your entire system. So you can automate how you get data from the internet. You can automate how the data is transferred from one system to another system and so on and so forth. But what we are doing here is essentially automation, right? What we are doing on Visual Basic. Let me also show you how to do it on Excel Online. Now for Excel Online, it will only work if you're on a business account. If you have a personal account, it will not work. But if you have a business account, we have a button here called Automate. How does that work? We will go to Record Actions, everyone, and I'll do the same thing. I will select both my rows and we'll delete it. So Control minus, select my column, delete it. We'll make it bold. Then we will apply equal to trim, right? Copy it, come back. We want to do a paste special value, which is paste special values. We'll delete this. We'll auto fit. We will write the sum, Control B, and then change the color. And then finally, I will stop my recording. Now the entire recording that we have done here has been recorded not in Visual Basic. VBA doesn't work on the internet. We're using a language called TypeScript, okay? You can look at how the code is. This, everybody, is how TypeScript looks. The good part about TypeScript is that it is based on JavaScript, which is a very popular language. Plus, you notice here that the comments are also coming automatically. So it is actually telling you how the entire code is running. So you might wonder, but Havish, why have I never heard of these things before? Because these are very early days. Speak to me after 5 years and then you will see how many people are using it, right? These are very early days. Not a lot of companies are aware of it or are using it effectively. But then we are moving towards that, towards that end. We are moving in that direction where now we have something called Power Apps, right? Power Apps, again, is a Microsoft tool, a part of the Power Platform that allows you to automate your workflows. And now there is a new language called PowerFX that has been created. PowerFX basically allows you to automate your work by writing a language which is very similar to Excel. Okay, I'll not really get into details right now, but this is, for example, how you write an Excel formula. This is how you write a PowerFX formula. Very, very similar. It's a functional language, very similar to how Excel formulas work. Right? You can just maybe make a note of this somewhere and have a look at it later. It's called PowerFX. The language we are looking at right now is called TypeScript. TypeScript is a language which is based on JavaScript. It has been created and it is being maintained by Microsoft. As you can see, it is a free and open source language developed and maintained by Microsoft. Can you run TypeScript and JavaScript directly within Excel desktop? Absolutely. If you notice on my Excel file, we have something called my script lab, this one. And in this, you can actually run your JavaScript TypeScript codes directly within Excel. See, I'm not trying to show all this to you to show off or to tell you how much you don't know. I'm just trying to give you a very realistic picture in terms of what all is there in the scope of Excel. Excel is not about writing indirect VLOOKUP, index, SUMIF, match. It is much more than that. Excel is formulas and functions. It is let and lambda. It is TypeScript and JavaScript. It is Visual Basic, right? Plus, now you even have web apps. So if I go to insert add-ins, you can see that we have literally applications that have been created for Excel. In fact, I also have an application available on the store, which is a stopwatch. How does it work? Very simple. Once you add it, it basically runs a stopwatch within your Excel file. All of you can download it right now if you have access to the add-in store like this. Okay. On top of this, Excel also has Power Query and Power Pivot. Power Query is an ETL tool. Power Pivot is a modeling tool that allows you to combine multiple tables into a single table. Right? I will give you an example on Power Query as well, because that's a very important part of data cleaning. But any questions so far, anyone? Either on VBA or on TypeScript? Just clean up a little bit. I know I'm showing you a lot of files right now, but the idea was to give you an exposure, right? And to tell you what all is there in the scope of Excel. On my YouTube channel, I have over 800 videos. So you notice that in my VBA playlist, I have literally covered everything that a basic user would want. So you notice I have told you how to get file names from a folder, how to automate Excel and PowerPoint. How cool is that? So imagine you have 10 Excel charts and you want to put them in PowerPoint. You do it manually, right? You can actually do it in a single click in 1 second. I've shown you how to automate pivot tables with VBA. And this is a very long video, 27 minutes. I've explained step by step how to build an entire code that will allow you to automate your pivot table. You will never ever have to make a pivot table again, because you can just click on a button and it will do it for you. Right? Like this, there are lots of different things I've explained. For example, we have Outlook automation. How can you send different emails to different people with a different attachment, with a different BCC, right? Just from an Excel input. So you don't have to send 50 emails one by one. And the entire code has been given here as well. If you notice, I've explained everything and the code has also been given in the video. Similarly, there are videos on other topics as well. So on Excel data cleaning, HR analytics, Power BI at different skill levels. So basic topics have also been covered and very advanced topics have also been covered. Right? For example, there's a playlist on Lambda that explains all these different videos on Lambda. Right? All right, let me just share I know I've shared the link with you already on the email, but I'll share it once again in any case. Right? Perfect. Now let's come to an example on Power Query. But first, let me build a problem statement for you. Okay. All right. So imagine that you have not just one file, but a bunch of different files. Okay. So you notice that there is a folder. And in my folder, there are 3 files that we have, 2011, 2012, 2013. And I want to combine all 3. That's step number 1. Step number 2 is that in the file, there is one column that is missing. What is that column? So if you notice, we have the child. That means we know what subcategory we are selling. There are 17 of them. But we do not know the parent. We don't know the category. For example, if I say that I'm selling a Swift and a Baleno and a XUV 700 and a Creta, I know I'm selling these models, but I don't know what brands they belong to, right? Where is that data given? That has been given in a different file, which is fine. Category dimension file. And you notice my file looks like this, right? So let's see how we can combine everything into a single model. So I'm doing it on Excel, but because we're working on Power Query and Power Pivot, whatever you're learning right now, you can use it on Power BI as well. But I'm going to show you on Excel, since this is a data cleaning and preparation on Excel workshop. Right? First, I will need the Power Pivot tab. Power Pivot is also available only on Excel desktop, not on online. And it is already there on your computers, but you have to enable it. How do you enable it? You will go to File, then you go to Options, then you go to Add-ins, you select COM add-ins, COM add-ins, go, and you notice there is something called Power Pivot. You simply have to enable it. Power Query is already there on your system. When you go to data, you notice that you already have Power Query editor here. So you don't have to do anything about this. So the first thing I'll do is I will go to data, get data from file, and then from folder. because we want to combine multiple files from a folder, right? We click on this. I will go to my desktop and we select inside IM, Power BI, model, and sales historical. Now remember, this folder has 3 files in it, right? So it confirms there are 3 files in it. I will go to combine and transform. Select the sheet, go to OK. And you know what? That's it. In less than 15 seconds, we have managed to combine 3 files from a folder. And how can I prove it to you? Look at this. This is the Power Query window, everyone. And you notice we have 11, 12, and this is dynamic, which means that once I close and apply, and the data gets sent back to my Excel file, you notice we have the data for 11, 12, and 13, right? There are 33,000 rows. Now imagine that you add another file to the same folder. So copy and paste. All I have to do in Excel is that I don't have to repeat anything. I just have to right click and refresh. Look what happens. Don't blink, you will miss. It just takes 1 second. When I click on refresh, you see this? 2014 has got added as well. How cool is that? Similarly, if you delete it, come back and you refresh it, you will get 11, 12, 13. So that's step number 1. We have managed to combine the data from 3 files into a single file. But we also need another file, which is the category. So what will we do? We will again go back to data and get data from file from Excel workbook. And I will select my category file. Sheet 1, transform data. Now you notice there are 2 files that we have. So I'm going to call the first one fact sales. That is the convention we follow since it's the transactional data. And this one is a dimension file because it is a descriptor file. So we call it dimension, my category, like this. The problem is that the heading is not coming properly. So I can just go to home and select first row as headers. There are these null values. I can just right click, go to fill and then select fill down. And also the problem is that in the sales data, my subcategory is coming. You see this? It is coming in a first letter uppercase, everything else is lowercase. Here also we should have the same format. So I'm selecting both of these, right click and we will select transform, capitalize each word. Now it matches perfect. You must be thinking, but Havish, don't we need a VLOOKUP if I want to combine everything? I will show you how to merge 2 tables as well, but you actually don't need to do that. And you know why? Because we have Power Pivot. Please see how it works. I'll close and load. Dim category and sales historical. Very cool. So first I select sales historical. I go to Power Pivot and I will add my table to the data model. I'll just click on add to data model. So you notice now we have got one table, which is my fact sales table that looks like this. Let me again do this for the category as well. I'll add it to the data model. And now you notice there are 2 tables we have. And in the diagram view in Power Pivot, you can see both of them are there. Now you can create a relationship between the 2 tables. So I can just say that my subcategory is connected to my subcategory like this. How cool is that? And now when I make a pivot table, it is not a pivot table for one table. It's a pivot table for 2 tables combined. Watch this. So when I make a pivot table on a new worksheet, do you see this? There are 2 tables that are coming here. How cool is that? So this means I can select category from one table, sales from a different table. And the cool part is that this value that you see, everyone, furniture 27,32,000 is actually coming from 4 different files. It is coming from 2011, 2012, 2013, and the category file. But to the end user, it's just one single pivot table you're creating because we have managed to combine 4 files into a single data model. Right? Any questions so far?
Hello, Havish. In this
Yes.
Power Pivot, can we hide the view? It's like now we are getting the view of both tables, all fields. Can we hide the view to user, like some of the fields we don't want to show, or we don't want to give him
Okay,
the
that way.
rights? Yes, yes.
There is a hide option here, but let me check that. So row ID I'm hiding, and yeah, let me just also sort it A to Z. Yeah, do you see this? There's no row ID coming in.
Yes, that's good. Thank you.
So all we did was we went here to my diagram view in Power Pivot, and we were able to hide and unhide it. Right?
Thanks.
Any other question?
Harish, hi, good evening. On this data view that you have, you pull the relationship of subcategory from the fact table to the dim table. Is it okay to do it the other way around?
It doesn't matter because the relationship will be detected automatically. Let me just delete it. The direction in which you drag it, either from fact to dim or dim to fact, doesn't matter, because even if you do it the other way around, like this, it will automatically determine which one is the one and the many side.
Okay. Thanks for that.
So if you notice, everyone, this is a relationship that we have created. This is how you would do it on SQL as well, right? So you're creating a relationship between one and one. So this is my primary key, where every single one of the 17 subcategories is coming only one unique time. And this is my foreign key, where every single one of the 17 subcategories has been purchased multiple times.
Is Power Pivot increase the size of workbook or not?
Not really. I mean, because it's not really data, right? It's not that you're storing another sheet with more data in it. Power Pivot is just creating a relationship between the files. So there will be no performance impact as such. Anything else? Anyone on this? Okay. If I go back to Power Query, data and get data Power Query editor, one option is you can create a relationship, but you can also do a merge or a join between the two tables. Let me show you how to do that. So I'm selecting sales here, and I go to merge queries. And you notice that here you have different joins available, similar to how you get them on SQL. So we have a left outer, right outer, full outer, inner, left anti, right anti. All of this has been explained on my YouTube playlist. All we are doing here is I'm selecting my category. We are selecting the matching columns, which is subcategory, subcategory. This is almost like a VLOOKUP. We click on OK. It merges the entire table, but we don't want the entire table. We just want the category. And you notice we get the category. I can just drag it to the left. And you notice now we have subcategory and category together. Both options are correct. If you want all your data to be in a master file, then you can do this. But from an efficiency point of view, it's always better to create a relationship, what we did in the Power Pivot window. And everything I'm showing you right now can be done in Power BI as well, because Power Query and Power Pivot work exactly the same way in Power BI as well. And the final thing I want to show you today is how to write DAX, data analysis expression. Now, we all know that we can't do calculations in a pivot. Sure, there are some basic calculations we can do with calculated file and item, but you should almost never use it. They're very limited in their scope, very difficult, not difficult to work with, but they're very limited in the scope and create a lot of other issues. So now, because I have a data model, I can create a measure, right? Let me give you an example. So I will create a new measure, and I'll call this measure show only furniture. Okay, watch this. So I will say that I want to calculate the sum of my sales value, right? With a filter applied to it. What is a filter? That my category should be equal to furniture. By the way, these functions I'm writing here are not Excel formulas. These are all a different language called DAX, right? Which is data analysis expression. So don't expect them to be Excel formulas, right? They're all different, as you can see. The functions are very different. Anyway, what have I done here? I've said that I want to see the sales only for furniture. How does that help me? If I click on OK, do you see the same value for furniture is coming in all the three places? How cool is that? Because you can't do it otherwise. Now you might say, but Havish, why exactly are we doing it? Because now when I make a chart, do you see this? I'm able to create a chart like this, where we have a baseline. Do you see this orange part? I can also right click, change the chart type. And I can say that furniture is a line like this. So now what we are doing is I'm able to say there is a reference line or a benchmark, which is furniture. And I can see technology has crossed furniture, office supplies is behind furniture. How else will you create a chart like this if you're not able to show this value in the pivot? What a lot of people do is they create half pivot table and half manual formulas. But that's a bad way of doing it because it's neither a pivot nor a proper customizable formula. So this is great because you can customize the way your values appear inside the pivot table. A very important use case for this would be whenever you want a financial year, because in a pivot table, we all know that if you notice in a pivot table, we cannot keep, if I keep my order date, you will notice that it will always start Q1, Jan, Feb, March. It will not consider Jan, Feb, March to be Q4, right? How do you solve that problem? I'm not going to cover it right now, but if you look at my playlist, everyone, I'm not sure why I can't find it. Hold on. That's embarrassing. I'm not sure. I am not able to find. I think it's this one, partial year YY. No, this is not the one. Fill through related row context, normalization, pivot table. Okay, this one, fiscal year. Check this out. So this is where I've explained, if you look at the result, everyone, do you see this? This part that I've highlighted, 98,000 cumulative, right? 98,000 plus 202, 103, which is 202 plus 135, which is 33. But it will reset in the month of April. So you notice from April, it starts to count again. On the other hand, a running total will always count from Jan to December. Here you're counting from April to March. Right? So again, I mean, once you watch these videos, you will see the problem is you don't know what you don't know. So those of you who have never worked on Power Query and Power Pivot, you don't even know what possibilities it offers, right? That you will only get to know once you do a little bit of reading and see how these things work. Perfect. Great. I think I'm done from my side. I, in my mind, wanted to cover a list of different things. We have done that. So we have done dynamic arrays, how to write better formulas, formula forge, alt enters, taking the screenshot, let variable declaration, lambda for creating your own anonymous functions, adding it to the name manager, how the GitHub gists work. We have seen Power Query for ETL, combining multiple files. We have seen Power Pivot for creating a model. We have seen joins. Yeah, that's about it, right? So I've basically covered VB and TypeScript as well. So now you have a sense of all the different things that are there in Excel. What is the best book for Power Query? There is a book called M for Data Monkey, which is quite good. See, no book can cover everything, but then this is quite a good book. M is for Data Monkey. I believe there is a second edition that is going to come out, but I think it was delayed or something like that. Or maybe it's not there on Amazon. We'll have to check.
Sir, any TypeScript playlist do you have?
I'm sorry, could you say that again?
TypeScript learning, like VBA.
No, I'm sorry, what is the question?
TypeScript.
Sure. So the question is, where do you learn TypeScript from?
Yes, yes.
See, there is very little content available on TypeScript because it's so new and very few people are working on it. But then the official Microsoft documentation is pretty good on TypeScript. So I suggest that that is what you refer to. You can see that on the official Microsoft documentation. They have literally explained everything and anything and everything related to scripts have been given here. So this is what I would recommend. There is also a guy on YouTube who's a Microsoft employee, whose name I can't remember. Let me just check once.
Kevin? Kevin Straightheart?
Sorry?
Kevin Straightheart? Yeah. Straightheart. Yeah, that's the guy. Kevin.
Kevin does a little bit of everything. He's not a specialist in any one thing, but sure. I mean, I'm sure he has some videos as well. You can look at Leila Khirani if she has some videos. But I can't seem to find the name of that one person. Yeah, I mean, can't really recollect right now. I can also look at Excel TypeScript on GitHub. Hold on. Excel, GitHub, let's have a look. Office dev, let me have a look. No, I'm sorry, I can't seem to recollect. Anyway, great. Any other question, anyone? Yeah, so finally for my sales pitch, I hope you liked the session and there were some takeaways for everyone. So I have courses on different areas, Excel being one of them. So it's a 45 hours bundle. Everything has been prepared and recorded by me. So it's basically more of what you have seen today. It's very detailed. It doesn't cover things in a hurry. So you notice that there's a 2-hour course in lookup, 3-hour course in pivot table, like that. So it basically covers everything to do with Excel, and I keep on updating it as well. So for example, the data cleaning I updated just a month back. VBA I updated about 6 months back. So the content is not outdated. It is absolutely up to date. So as in how new features and functions come out, the courses get updated as well. It's lifetime access. No limit on the number of views, obviously. And this is hosted on Teachable. Right? So in case you're interested, you can just hop over to my website and have a look at this. Similarly, there are courses on other areas as well. So there's a course on Power BI, which covers everything from basic to advanced. And there's a course on Tableau as well. Right? Similarly, a course on PowerPoint. And then some basic introductory courses on data science. This is not my area of specialty, but I have some very basic courses on Python, R, and 9. For those of you who have never done any programming earlier and just want to start, this is the right course for you. If you are already at an intermediate level, you might not really learn a lot from this, right? Obviously, the content I have on YouTube is a supplement and a complement to my online videos. Some of it is common. So what you find in the course is also there on YouTube. But by and large, what is there on YouTube is different. Like I said, it's a complement and supplement to what you will find in the online courses. Excellent. So great. That's all from my side. Thank you so much for joining me. And I'm always available on LinkedIn. So if you have any query, do feel free to reach out.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening.